What's going on, everybody? Joe here from Price.tag Aquariums, and I'm finally revealing what's going to be going inside this tank in this window next to the Mbunas over here. So I feel like it's been a while, so I feel like this is a perfect opportunity to let you guys know that I finally made a decision on what fish is going to be going in here, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So let's get to it.
So as many of you already know, this is where I do a majority of my YouTube content and live streams. And in the left in-wall window is where all my Mbuna are at, and as you can see, are doing quite well. And on the right window in-wall tank setup, I've had it empty for quite some time now. Well, almost. Actually, it's been like this since February 28th when I first moved it downstairs into the fish room. But the tank has been fully cycled and has been inhabited by a ton of these Malaysian trumpet snails. And these little guys have not stopped multiplying. But anyways, I've given this a lot of thought, time, and effort on what I've wanted to put in here, and I cannot wait to share it with all of you.
And real quick, I'd like to mention that I got all these fish from Aquatics near Cleveland. And it was suggested by Happy Place Aquatics, Jim, and that place, it was clean, it was great, and the selection of fish was beyond what I expected. So hats off to you guys, and thank you, Jim, for suggesting them to me, because they were really, really good, and they were very personable too. So with that being said, let's see what we got. All right, so like I said, I got all these fish from Aquatics. They were very nice people, very easy to work with, and a very nice, clean store. I was very impressed with the selection they had, and everything was great. So, here's what we have. So, I got some yo-yos. There's 3 of them in here. You may not be able to see them very well here, but I'll get a closer shot at them whenever I get them all out of the bag. They're basically, what I was told, they're kind of like clown loaches, and they will take care of the pest snail problem that I have with the Malaysian trumpet snails. So that'll help mitigate that. Oh, I did get a Plecco, a bristlenose Plecco. So that's what's in this bag is in here. And then in this one, I got 4 Geophagus. And they're pretty small, looks like. Yeah, they got 5 for me. They told me they only got 4, but it looks like there's 5 in here. So they're probably about maybe a couple inches long, but they have plenty of room to grow, obviously, and they're going to get big. So future planting will be ahead. And then I got some fire mouse. Looks like I got 1, 2, 3. I believe I got 5 of these. And I know these guys get big too, so I'm assuming I'm going to have to upgrade and move these to a bigger tank. But for now, this 55 will be perfect for it to see them watch them grow. You can't really see them too well in the bag, but I'll get a closer, better look at them when they're in the tank. And then last but not least, I chose electric blue Acara. And there's 5 of them in here. And this is something that I've kind of kept on my bucket list, along with the Geophagus. These are something that's been on my bucket list for a little bit, and I've thought about over time. And I've always think the Acaras were really cool. And I actually got the idea from Cichlid Bros, because they have a lot of electric blue Acara, and I'm really happy I went with that. So let me get a better view with the camera, and let me see if I can show you guys. All right, so here's a Plecco in here. Looks pretty active. Here's all the electric blue Acara. There's 5 of them in here, maybe a few inches big. And then here are the yo-yos. And here are my fire mouse. There are 5 of them in here. Because I thought one of the sets I got 4 instead of 5, but I wasn't sure. And I thought it was the Geos, but here's the Geos now. They're real small, and they're going to get bigger. And all right, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to top off this water real quick because it's a little bit low, And then I'm going to do the plop and drop method because this tank already has the 307 right here, the canister filter, and it's been cycled. This whole tank has been cycled. It's been running fine, and it's been here for like months, and I just kept an eye on it with the parameters and everything, and it's been great. So I'm going to do your plop and drop method from back here, and then you'll see me release the fish into the tank. So let's get started. Oh, and also real quick, I wanted to mention that I'm going to do a little bit of a different rockscaping, but it's not going to be much. I'm probably just going to add a couple of things and try to see what works as well. So I'm going to change a little bit up, but not much. So while we're waiting to get the fish acclimated into their new home, I thought I'd talk to you guys a little bit about why I chose this fish. I did mention it a little bit about why I chose the electric blue Acara, and it's because of watching the Cichlid Bros channel, and they had a lot of them, and I just thought, you know, with how active they are and how neat they looked, and you know, get them in groups, you know, and they were just a really neat fish to look at, and I saw them finally in person for the first time at the store, and it was just one of those fish that are a beautiful fish, and it was kind of like in the back of my mind. I've looked some information up on how to take care of them, and I really just went into the store with not the mindset of getting them, but then when I talked to the owners at Aquatics, that they were able to help me out a lot, and I was more confident in getting them at the same time. So that's why I chose them. I chose the yo-yos, like I said, to take care of the pest snail problem, or the Malaysian trumpet snail problem. And I thought about clown loaches, and I might still do that, but in the future I would have to find a bigger tank for them because I know those get big in the long run. But I thought that yo-yos would be a good option to help take care of that, and I already have some upstairs, but I figured adding a few would kind of help mitigate that pest problem, and then kind of add a little bit of black and white to everything, which is kind of neat. So I'm a little worried that it seems like the yo-yos might get a little nippy when they get older, so I'm hoping that won't be the case. And I hear that clown loaches can be a little bit less aggressive, I guess, in that aspect, but you know, cross fingers that everything will work out for me on that. The firemouth actually wasn't even part of my plan at all. I'm hoping that it'll work out, but it's kind of like one of those, oh, I remember those firemouths, and I remember seeing them on Ben Ochart's channel, and I remember looking at them, and I was just like, wow, those things are freaking awesome, and like the way they color up and the way like the bottom of their lips get all red and everything. So I'm hoping that like they'll work out. This was kind of like an impulse buy, and I don't do that too often. But this was one of them, so I'm hoping that these guys will work out, and as time goes on and if they all survive and everything's happy, then I'll have to move into a bigger tank and figure out from there. But it's nice that I can have this tank available to start raising these guys up, you know, when they're only a couple inches or so, 2-3 inches. So that's why I chose that, because of Ben Ochart's influence in his channel. Now the Pleco was something I just wanted to put in a cichlid tank because I've never had a Pleco in there. It's a bristlenose Pleco, so I'm assuming it'll get along fine with the rest of them. So this is going to be an interesting thing to see and watch, and it seems like it shouldn't cause an issue, but only time will tell. And the Geophagus, that has been on my bucket list for a very long time, ever since I started moving this hobby down in the basement, and I saw them on Cichlid Bros as well, and they have those long trailers whenever they get older. They will get big, and I know that for sure. So like I said before, whenever these fish start to get bigger, I'll have a future plan for them, of course, but I'll have plenty of time to think of that. And as they grow and get older in this one, it'll be really neat to see them grow and see how they act and how everything works out. I'm really excited to see the progression on all this. So that's kind of why I chose those, because it was part of the #1 bucket list fish that I wanted to have, along with the blue acaras. But yeah, that's it. I'm hoping this combination works out. I'd appreciate it if you guys let me know in the comments below what you think about the mixture, and if you have any helpful tips and suggestions, then just let me know. I'm hoping this all works out and it doesn't end up horrible. But I know when fish are younger, they seem to get along better, but as they get older, then things start to progress and you start to notice different attitudes and aggression and that sort of thing. So I'm hoping with the rock skate that I have, which is I try to keep very basic, and with the fish combination, I talked to the owners, I should say, of Agno Aquatics, and they seem like think that this should work out okay. I almost picked a Severum, but I know those things get pretty big, and I would definitely need a future tank for that as well. There's a few fish that I did keep in mind for sure, and I'm kind of disappointed in myself, but at the same time, I'm not. I really wanted to do discus, and I went into Agno Aquatics thinking in my head that, because they have a lot of discus there, they have plenty of angelfish there, that was on the list. There was, there were some odds and ends choices I picked as well, but between angelfish and discus and Acara was always on my list anyways, so that was going to be a guarantee walking out of the store regardless. But I was trying to think of what paired well with discus, and sometimes angelfish and discus, it seems like there's like a mixture of feelings of how people think about putting them together with angelfish and discus. And the more that I looked up and the more that I talked to the owners, I didn't want to take the risk of putting angelfish with a discus right now if I were to go that route. One, because discus, they require a lot of work, and long story short, my work schedule and my life schedule and fish schedule, you really have to keep up with your water changes with discus, and you really have to keep things like top notch and healthy and flourishing, and like you have to keep everything pretty much top of the line with them. And whenever you get a pair, that they can get on the aggressive side too, along with other tank baits. So I didn't want to run into that, and the more information I found out, now it's just not the right time for me to get discus. I will get it in the future, but I feel like whenever I have more time with my schedule and I can have a lot of time to be down here in the fish room, but right now it's kind of like that fine line to where I'm right above that line to where I'm good, and I don't want to go below that line where I'm not going to enjoy the hobby. And I feel like if I get discus along with angelfish, and if when they get older and start pairing up, then I really don't want to struggle with that per se, and try to keep up with everything else that I'm doing in the fish room. So right now I'm at a really good point to where I'm able to balance everything out with the fish and everything else. But as I started looking at more fish, and like I said, Agno Aquatics, for as being like a smaller building, everything was so clean and so compact, and they had such a huge selection for like a smaller store, and I was super impressed by everything that they had. So because of the amount of selection of fish they had and so much to look at, I changed my whole mindset completely, and I decided to not go with angelfish. Then I decided, since I didn't go with discus, and I did not really want to go with angelfish as well, and then when I started looking at the other fish, I thought, you know what, let's just put that on the back burner for now. I don't want to stress myself out, because that's not the point. So that's kind of a rundown of everything that I'm doing here. But my main two things were the electric blue acara and the geophagus. Those were the two that I was pretty much sold on, and then the others were just to help out with everything else. So here we go. It's been about 30 minutes or so let's go ahead and put them in. So as you guys saw, that as soon as I put them in the tank over there, they're immediately trying to find a hiding spot and trying to get sort of acclimated to their new environment. So I did turn the lights off again so they could give them a chance to start moving around and try to get used to their area, their environment, and try to make sure that everything is okay. And they went through a very traumatic experience, you know, about an hour drive from my house, plus putting them 30 minutes into this tank here, and then dropping them into that tank. So I'm going to give them a little bit of time to settle out, and then we'll take a look at them later on. Alright guys, that's a wrap. Wish me luck. I hope everything works out. I'm glad you guys came along to watch me finally put fish in this tank. So, until next time, we'll see ya.